everybody, this is Jen Oswald, Director of Outreach and Care at Crossview Church, and I'm coming to you from my home. This is our new normal for the time being, that we get to do ministry through the various technologies that we all are blessed with. So I would much rather we were doing this in the foyer on a Sunday morning, but until that's our reality, this will have to do. So thanks for joining me. I'm just going to spend a few minutes sharing a quick devotional with you and some thoughts I've been having about it. And as well as at the end of this, I'm going to share with you a new resource that'll be made available to you starting next week. So thanks again. And I'm just going to share with you a devotional from Oswald Chambers from his book, My Utmost for His Highest. And it comes from the date of May 22nd. But it starts out with, if you are going through a time of isolation, seemingly all alone, read John 17. And that first sentence made this feel like a pretty relevant devotional for us to land on today. But again, if you are going through a time of isolation, seemingly all alone, read John 17. It will explain exactly why you are where you are, because Jesus has prayed that you may be one with the Father as He is. Are you helping God to answer that prayer, or do you have some other goal for your life? Since you became a disciple, you cannot be as independent as you used to be. Jumping down to the bottom, God is not concerned about our plans. He doesn't ask, do you want to go through this difficulty or this defeat? No, He allows these things for His own purpose. The things we are going through are either making us sweeter, better, and nobler men and women, or they are making us more critical and fault-finding and more insistent on our own way. The things that happen either make us evil or they make us more saintly, depending entirely on our relationship with God and its level of intimacy. If we will pray regarding our own lives, your will be done, then we will be encouraged and comforted by John 17, knowing that our Father is working according to His own wisdom, accomplishing what is best. When we understand God's purpose, we will not become small-minded and cynical. Jesus prayed nothing less for us than absolute oneness with Himself, just as He was one with the Father. Some of us are far from this oneness, yet God will not leave us alone until we are one with Him, because Jesus prayed that they all may be one. So this devotional is referencing John chapter 17, and I encourage you to take some time and dig into that. I won't read it in its entirety to you right now, but take some time to dig into that. It's right before Jesus is arrested, and it's an opportunity for us to sort of eavesdrop on His prayer to the Father, and He prays for His disciples, and then He prays for believers that would come after, and then further than that, He prays for those who might come to believe because of believers' witnesses. And so I just want to, I pulled out three things that I think this devotional means for us in the midst of what we're going through right now. Number one being that we are actually never alone. Right? When I see the word isolation or I hear the word isolation, something checks in my spirit, because that just doesn't line up, I think, with the believer's reality. When we are a believer, when we come into relationship with Christ, that means we are actually never alone. And the reality of isolation just doesn't seem to line up with the reality of being a Christian. And so I encourage us to think about how we are viewing the situation and the language we're using around it and the attitudes we're using around it. Is it really isolation, or is it solitude? Are we really being restricted, or are we being protected? Is our witness being hindered, or is our witness being released? I think we talk a lot about that we don't believe the church is a building, we don't believe it's a gathering place, but it's a people and it's a movement. And I think this is giving us an opportunity to prove, if we really believe that, the church is not a building. Number two, God is fully in control and at work right now, this minute, answering Christ's prayer about us, about believers, and about those who will believe because of our message. So no one gets a pass at evangelism. This passage is saying that because of how we respond and because of our oneness with Christ and how we identify with Him, that others will come to know Him as well and will come to believe. So how are we using our influence right now? I encourage you to think about that. And finally, number three, we are being shaped by this. Whether you like it or not, we are growing either sweeter and better and more noble, or we are growing critical, fault-finding, and insisting on our own way. Like the words from the devotional, there's really no neutral ground in this. We're either getting better and sweeter, or we are getting more critical and more hard-hearted. And so I just encourage you, my prayer for all of us in this would be that we allow ourselves to be stretched and become better and sweeter versions of ourselves through this. It's going to take intention and it'll take resilience, but as Christ prayed that by embracing this trial, we can grow in oneness with the Father through the work that Christ has done. Now, I don't want to take it for granted, and I don't want to imply that this is easy, that the spiritual realities wrapped up in this text or wrapped up in this devotional are easy, and that it's going to be easy for us to walk it out. So let me just take a moment and acknowledge that. If you're finding that this is difficult to live into, you're not alone. This isn't easy for any of us. But I would like to just acknowledge to you that if being restricted in your home right now, if seeing some of your freedoms taken away, or feeling like you're feeling restricted and is causing you distress, maybe anxiety is kicking in, maybe some depressive tendencies are showing up, maybe some unhealthy behaviors or patterns in your behavior are coming out through this. I just want to encourage you that this is your opportunity to make some changes, and that one way that you can do that is to reach out to others, to connect with others, to not isolate, right? We intentionally isolate. And so we are developing a resource for you right now to that end, to be able to provide a very practical tool for you if you're finding that you really could use that accountability, that you could use that connection with others to help navigate this, however long it's going to be. I'm developing a tool that will be available starting next week. So I'm going to be launching a weekly wellness check-in. And this isn't just open to Crossview Church. If you're listening to this, wherever you're at and whatever your circumstances are, you're welcome to join on this weekly wellness check-in. You can expect 3 things from these check-ins. One being, I'll share a short teaching or a resource, something that we can all utilize and talk about together, focused on staying well throughout this trial. Number 2, we will feature and focus on one practical wellness tip that we can put into place for the week, and we can all provide accountability for each other, there are small, simple things that we can do to take care of our mind, body, and soul. And every week we're going to focus on one of them and encourage each other as we implement that for the week. And then finally, it'll provide an opportunity to encourage each other and to engage with other people who might be feeling the same stress you are and might be feeling the same challenges that you are. We're just going to get together and encourage and engage with one another. So be watching for details on that. We're not sure which platform we're going to use because the group size has a lot to do with what we choose to use. So be watching for that. You can watch our Facebook page, and details for that will be coming out, and you can sign up for that. It's going to be a resource you can use as needed, drop in 1 week, drop in all the weeks, whatever you need and whatever best suits you, but it'll be a resource that's available to you starting next week. So watch out for that. Thanks so much for listening, and I pray that this finds you well, and just know that you're loved and you're missed, and we are praying for you. God bless.